Welcome to Warfighter Advance, Coming Home at Last, a podcast by and for veterans. Warfighter Advance is an organization whose mission is the successful reintegration of every warfighter. Hi, I'm Michael Arndt, a Vietnam combat veteran and a member of the board of directors for Warfighter Advance. Welcome to another episode of the Warfighter Advance podcast, Coming Home at Last. Joining me today is Mike Mattingly. Mike is an alumnus of the Warfighter program and now serves as a mentor and staff member here at Warfighter. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you.
Mike, first of all, tell us a little bit about your military background, because you served in the Air Force, but more importantly, you had many years as a first responder and firefighter.
I was, during the Vietnam War, I had a lottery number, so it was either be drafted or enlist. I enlisted in the Air Force. I went to the Air Force, never served combat, and then part of my career was I served in one of the busiest firehouses in the United States. I started when I was a volunteer when I was 16, and I did close to 30 years service in the fire department.
So tell us about this busiest fire station in the country.
Well, it was a station that I was certainly honored to be a part of. We never stopped. We were busy 24 hours a day. Mostly the busiest time that I spent was in the 80s when certain factions were trying to take over the drug markets in the place that I worked. So during those days, it was very stressful, but we were a team just like here. We never stopped helping each other. We always worked together. We always had each other's back no matter what. Didn't make any difference. We were there for each other. And I loved my career. I loved going to work. And I retired with honors.
How did you find out about Warfighter, and what made you initially come to Warfighter Advance?
Well, I certainly believe in things happening for a reason. I truly believe in that. So my wife and I worked for a veterans organization for 5 years. And one day the executive director said, "Mike, I'd like for you to take these people around the property and show them the property." Thank God one of them was Dr. Featon. So we're riding around the property, talking, having casual conversation. You know, what do you do for a living? Why are you here? So she explained that. And then she started telling me about Warfighter Advance. So I said, "Oh, that's very, very interesting." So she asked me about my career. So I told her what I did, some of the things that happened during my career. And she says, "You know, would you be interested in coming to our 7-day evolution?" I said, "Well, you know, what's the reason?" She said, "We want to start welcoming first responders into this program." I said, "Absolutely, no question whatsoever." So I came here at First Evolution, and ever since then, I've been back for every one. And I'll come here until they put the lid on the urn.
What happened at that first evolution that caused this dedication that you have?
Well, for me personally, I held things in for 25 years, and I truly did. Didn't talk about things. And then all of a sudden, I go to this evolution, and people, combat veterans and other participants, started telling their stories. So I said, well, you know, if I don't tell my story now, I'll never do it. So it came out. And that was like a godsend for me. It literally changed my life and my perspective. So I said, I got to keep coming back, keep giving and giving, and that's why I'm still here.
As a mentor and a staff person working with Warfighter, what kinds of responsibilities do you have, and what kinds of things have you noticed as warfighters go through this program?
As a mentor, you not only have a connection with combat veterans, you have connections with police officers, firefighters, and we all are in the same venue. We all have our difficulties. So for me, to be able to relate to others than the fire service is extremely rewarding for me. Not only that, but the other good thing about that is when these participants arrive here, they're like a deer in headlights. It's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? So then they start figuring out teamwork, that, conversation, coffee in the morning, and then they start opening up, and then they loosen up, and then they start telling their stories. And the best thing about it is not only the stories that's related to their careers, some of their horrific careers, it's also, look, I can help you with family matters. Do you want to talk about this? Do you want to talk about that? So it's all perspective of life, and that's another reward.
Well, I really want to thank you for your totally committed dedication to Warfighter, and I often think you're the hardest working man at Warfighter.
I don't know about that, but thank you.
And for someone who has made great contributions, I thank you for your contribution to Warfighter Advance. And thank you for talking to us today.
Can I say one thing?
Of course.
And this is something that was passed on to me years ago from an old timer in the fire department. And he said, Mike, you're getting ready to leave here, you're getting ready to retire, that's going to be a sad day for you. And it was. He said, but you have to remember this, that when you were here, generations before you did this, and generations after you are going to do the same thing. And I tell, especially young veterans or new people, police officers, whoever it is, firefighters, in your lifetime, you have been chosen to be in the most honored profession in the world, and that's the truth.
Well, thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
That. Welcome to another Mindful Minute with a Mentor as part of the Warfighter Advance podcast, Coming Home at Last. Joining me today is Sean McElhinney, who's an instructor for Warfighter Advance. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Sean, tell me a little bit about your background.
So I am the executive director at Verdun Adventure Bound in Rixeyville, Virginia. We are a nonprofit organization that specializes in team building and leadership development programs. I'm a challenge course manager myself, and we have been doing it for about 15 years out there. So, yeah.
How did you hear about Warfighter Advance?
So it was kind of fate. I guess COVID struck here at Lions Camp Merrick. They lost their staff. And Doc Veaton started reaching out, trying to find somebody else to fill the gap. And she ended up connecting with the person who taught one of my trainings, and he recommended us at Verdun, and we came up. We did one Evo thinking, we're just going to do, a spring or a fall to help out, because it is, a couple hour distance for us. But I think that we fell in love with the program for sure, and I think that they fell in love with us. So here we are, years later, still doing it.
Tell us a little bit about the specifics of what you do.
Sure. So what we specialize in is experiential learning. So I get people outdoors and we play and we learn through play. I think the beauty of it is that you get to put people in almost perceived stress situations or real life type situations where they're going to feel the emotions that they'd feel in a real life stressful situation. But it's a perceived stress situation. They're safe the whole time. So when we get somebody outside and we put them in that position where they can truly feel those emotions, it gives them the opportunity to actually practice the techniques that they're learning while they're here. It gives them the opportunity to support one another and build each other up and show how powerful that support can be in a stressful situation. And it's pretty amazing to see how far they can push themselves, and they recognize, oh, hey, here's what I can accomplish when I have these tools and techniques in my back pocket, or I have this support group around me, and they get to do it in real time. And I think that really sits, it goes home with them. It's something that when you get to actually experience it, it's a little different than just learning about it and someone telling you, oh, next time you're in a stressful situation, I want you to breathe. No, like, get into the stressful situation, breathe, and see how powerful that actually is. And then hopefully that sticks and they can take it home with them.
What kinds of things have you noticed with warfighters, particularly, as they participate in your exercises?
So specifically with warfighters, I think one of the beauty of this program, I guess I'll backtrack and start with, I do a lot of team building with businesses, do a lot of team building with kids. And in both scenarios, you have moments where you really have to dig to make the activity make sense, or to give the activity meaning. With warfighters, it is very different. One, because the team almost always forms very quickly. It's something that you don't see when you're working with other populations. The people in the group just rally around each other almost immediately on the second activity, and really build each other up. And that's awesome. And then the debriefs at the end, when we're able to talk about it and make the concepts real, the conversations are incredible. And I hear things of, the most common thing that I hear in our debriefs when we're up here at Warfighter is, I thought I was alone and now I realize I'm not. And I think that's incredibly powerful. And I think getting people out there onto that course and showing them, hey, look at all you can accomplish if you surround yourself with the people you have here. And then seeing it click in their brain and it stick that quickly is pretty impressive and unique to Warfighter.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us today, and thank you for your contribution to Warfighter Advance.
Absolutely. Honored to be here.
This has been another Mindful Minute with a Mentor as part of the Warfighter Advance podcast, Coming Home at Last. Thank you for joining us for the Warfighter Advance Coming Home at Last podcast. Warfighter Advance envisions a world where warfighters are fully restored through a non-medical process. To achieve that vision, Warfighter Advance sponsors 6 7-day training sessions each year to which veterans and active duty service members can apply, and for no cost to the warfighter. If you or those you know are struggling with issues related to reintegration, please contact us through our website. We are dedicated to lead the way so that every warfighter has the information, tools, and support they need to successfully reintegrate. Until next time, this is Michael Arndt on behalf of Warfighter Advance.